Hey guys, and welcome to this little build guide of my 3.21 Ranger Deadeye build that I'm going to play in the new upcoming Crucible solo cell phone Ruthless League. So important to note, not hardcore, but the normal solo cell phone Ruthless. And even though my voice is a bit crackled because I'm a bit under the weather, I wanted to get this video out because I realized that there's not too many videos about builds in the Ruthless leagues in general, but especially not for 3.21. I think it's still quite a niche thing, and not so many people play it, or not so many content creators make videos. So I'm not a content creator myself at all. So please bear with me if I'm not too good at explaining. Maybe I haven't done a build video for Path of Exile since 2014, actually. But I have been playing this game for quite a while, and the Ruthless mode is basically really what rekindled my interest. It's really a mode that I'm quite in love with. It really reminds me on to the early days of Path of Exile, where every rare item, every unique was really interesting and could change the way you play the game. And yeah, with this upcoming patch, I wanted to have a build that can reliably farm rares, uniques, and especially support gems really quickly in order to equip my other builds. And this is why I started a Deadeye Ranger basically a week ago. And you will see a little showcase of the build at the end of the video. But now I want to go over the path of building really quickly with you, and I hope the video won't get too long. But I also wanted to include basically a step-by-step guide on how to gear and equip this build at the beginning of a league, and which gems, in my opinion, are mandatory and which ones you should mule, and how you should move your way through the passive tree within Ruthless, because yeah, the early days of the build can be quite difficult in any league, or especially in any Ruthless league. But I think with this build you have a really good basis in order to farm white maps and yellow maps, and even maybe early red maps really quickly with a lot of magic find and finding a lot of rares and a lot of uniques for your other builds. So maybe you want to play a summoner build after that, or like a Righteous Fire, Bone Shadow, whatever, something that really works well within Ruthless. This build is here to equip you and to supply the support gems and uniques and rares and 5-links and 4-links for these builds. Alright, so let's start by going over the passive tree and how you are going to move through the passive tree when you level this build. So you start here in the ranger area, you take the projectile nodes, and the first nodes that I recommend you to take are those nodes here, up until aspect of the links, because you get some really valuable movement speed. And then you can move down, you get these nodes, you get these nodes, you get this node here, and then over there, quick step, and these little nodes also provide you with some very valuable movement speed, especially at the beginning of the league. This is really a game changer because you don't have to rely on finding movement speed boots. You will find them eventually, but with these you already got like 20% movement speed or something like that, which is really valuable. You can also grab these elemental resistant nodes, which also give quite a lot of damage early game. So moving through here, get some life and spell suppression and these life nodes. So this is basically where you will be when you are roughly level 24. After level 24, I would recommend to move to the upper section of the tree because there are some really important nodes. I would basically either decide to run Clarity, maybe a level 5 or level 6 Clarity gem. You can get one from like the Witch or the Ranger and just do a quick mule. You can then take these damage nodes here, so you will get an additional arrow, which is really nuts early game. You can also run or rush the new multi-shot cluster, which is really nice. Get this one, but I can also recommend to get Clever Thief in order to solve any mana problems you might run into, because yeah, you want to have a fast bow and level quickly. And mana can be a bit of a problem for this build in the very early stages, but once you get Clever Thief, you will solve basically all your mana problems. So I've never ran any mana flask after getting Clever Thief. You get a lot of life on hit, you get a lot of mana on hit, and you got a lot of mana leech basically, so this node can be quite important to level quickly. And after that, you can decide if you want to go rather offensively and grab basically Forces of Nature, grab multi-shot obviously, or grab this very interesting new Mark node. So as we get Sniper's Mark now in the campaign, so I think even in Act 1, as a reward for the like a quest reward for Ranger, this can be really beneficial because it has the marked enemies cannot deal critical strikes node, which is quite strong in my opinion, because it makes you basically critical strike immune from any map boss, any tanky or dangerous rares, basically even pinnacle bosses as I understand this. So this is really strong in my opinion. Um, and another node that is super strong in my opinion will be access sustenance. So yes, it takes you basically 5 or 6 nodes depending on you taking the regenerate node as well. But as you might know with Lightning Arrow and with the new like ascendancy points here, so endless munitions, multi-shot, and Master Fletcher, we shoot 5 arrows by default. So this is not even running lesser multiple projectiles or volley or something like this. We shoot 5 lightning arrows and they will chain because we will also have ricochet. And we will hit mobs and packs a lot of times. So by shooting these 5 arrows once, we will probably hit up to like 10, 20, maybe even more times. And by only picking this node in the last league, I was getting a lot of life on hit. So I was sustaining a lot of life when I got hit and really replenishing life immediately just by this node here. I cannot even imagine how much life you will get by taking these 3 nodes here. It must be insane. Because the 15% chance is quite a lot if you hit like 20 times every second, basically. And also these nodes give you life, like 10 life on each hit every time. So this is insane survivability, especially early game, but even late game. I will consider, maybe I will anoint this if I find the oils, but I might just keep this circle because it will be so much life on it. Even on single targets, you might be able to sustain life just by just spamming your arrows. And also your totems, I think, also count for hits. And if you use artillery ballista, it hits a lot of times as well. So yeah, this is super valuable, very interesting new node. I'm really curious how this will be, but I think it will be quite strong. All right, so I can just recommend to go there. Then obviously spell suppression is really good. We have a new node here as well. Chance suppress spell damage is lucky. This is very valuable, and there's a really interesting Reddit post. If you only have, for example, 50% to suppress spell damage, so if you grab this early, this node just by itself gives you, I think, almost 50% chance to suppress spell damage, which is huge in the leveling process. So all the map bosses, or many of them, use spells, and you will be really tanky with that. I can just recommend that. Also, this one, monsters cannot block your attacks. We are attack based. This will give us quite a bit of a damage boost because many monsters actually have a base chance to block in Path of Exile, and this will just negate it. It will just not be possible to block your bow attacks, which will be really good. After you basically filled out this upper part, I would recommend to move down here, grab a bit more damage here. Also, these life nodes can be important when you move to like maps, so I would probably get those first and then get the rest. This node here is really interesting. You will get phasing and you will get another 10% movement speed when you phase, which will make you even faster. And also this node can be good if you have a bow with a lot of green sockets. It will basically solve all your accuracy problems. So even and in my configuration, I basically, well, I don't have it in here, but I basically say, okay, level 80 will be the highest mobs that I will be fighting. And if you select boss down here, obviously your single target damage will go down a little bit, but I will come to the gems in a second. But this is not a bossing character, so this is basically just for killing rares, killing magic monsters, and killing white monsters really quickly. But as you can see, now we get to the skill gems. we are on a 0 link. So we got this kind of damage against packs, so 5 lightning arrows and a bit of artillery ballista for single target just by the gem itself on level 18. So not even one support gem, and you will obviously find some of the support gems, either ones from here or also some other ones. It is really quite easy to scale lightning arrow with any elemental added gem here, and also artillery ballista is on a 1 link, so or 0 link. It will be quite easy to find something for that as well. And then we also got the new snipe support gem. As I said, we will get it as a quest reward for ranger, and with burning arrow this will be, I think, really strong against single targets, because snipe is just an insane multiplier for damage over time gems. Also bleed might be interesting, so you could even play like a puncture version. I think you can try around a bit, but one of these solutions, or you can even run both basically. You can place your ballista totems and then use your snipe to really focus down a single target or a map boss really quickly. And obviously we do get Sniper's Mark in Act 1 as well, which is huge. We can mule for an Hydrosphere, we can mule a Templar, I think, for Flame Wall, and we can also get a Tornado if we want from the Ranger quest reward in Act 3, I think. So we got quite a lot of utility against single targets, and to be honest, single target will be the only problem that you might have against some tanky mobs or map bosses. But packs will die so easily because you will be shooting 5 lightning arrows, which will do insane damage even on level 1 or like a single gem without any support gems. So that will be quite strong for, at least for the campaign. You will be sorted just by lightning arrow itself, I think, because you'll be shooting 5 lightning arrows whenever you click your mouse. And then also some defensive ideas that I had. I think Holy Relic is really beneficial because we are attack based, and whenever we attack, this little minion will regenerate 120 life for us, which is really strong. It barely dies anyways, and then you can just resummon it. Stone Golem obviously is really good for life regen as well. So because you are not really good against physical and bleeding, I think getting some regen is really beneficial. You can obviously also choose a Chaos Golem for additional physical damage reduction, but to be honest, I would just go for the regen. I think it's better. Also, this has to do with delving. I think this build is really great for early game delving, so until maybe depth 50, I was delving really quickly. I was finding a lot of fossils to craft early gear, or like forelings and chests and bows. But you can also use it to craft your maps, basically. That's really valuable in Ruthless. Then I also use Enduring Cry and Steel Skin. You can mule those also from, I think, the Duelist and the Marauder. In Act 1, I think even you will get Blood Rage from the Ranger by itself as a quest reward. So all the gems in here you can get through the campaign, basically, which is really nice. Or you can trade them from Sayosa. Then let's talk about the gear real quick. I included some gear, and I made sure that it is complete garbage. So you will definitely have this gear after playing for like half a week or maybe a week with this build, because you will be finding a lot of rares. And I put in here what you should focus for. So in general, I would focus on rarity of items found, on life and resist, obviously. So you need to cap those for mapping. And also attributes. So especially intelligence is important because you might find an aura. And I will jump now to the version that I was playing until last week, or like basically this week. And I, for example, found Ref, which is really nice, obviously, but I need 140 intelligence. So it is really quite important that you maybe find some intelligence, or even take some intelligence on the skill tree, and you have access to both strength and intelligence here. You get some from this node, and you could also maybe go down here and get these nodes if you really want, or you can anoint one of these nodes really easily. So the clear oil and the sepia is really the most common oils in the game. It will be really easy to anoint those. I can only recommend it because it makes gearing really way more easy in Ruthless, and unfortunately we lost the 15% elemental resistances. We only got those left. So that's not too much. So it will make gearing a bit more complicated, but on the other side we will have the life mastery, which will make up for any life that we do not have on our chest. So for example, you can have a chest which only has spell suppression, evasion rating, and a lot of resistances. You do not need the life, which is really nice for Ruthless. A really cool change in my opinion. Yeah, and for the rings, for example, I would also look maybe for some rarity. The amulet, I think, is the best uh, source for rarity. I just took or collected every gold amulet that I found after like level 20 or so. And maybe if you find like a gold amulet that has item level 50 and you have a spare essence, sorry, either spare essence or a spare fossil from Delve or maybe even an alch, just throw it on there. It might be worth it. I found some actually really good items just by trying that. So I found this amulet here. It has a lot of rarity. It has some life gain on it, which is great for this build. It has some life leech. So yeah, really good stuff. And I made most of these items myself. I just crafted them by early delving, throwing some fossils on there, throwing some alchs on there. Obviously, with alchs you have to be a bit careful because you need them for map completion. So I recommend you do early delving and you get some fossils to craft like 4 links, or even maybe if you find a 5 link, like I made this 5 link myself, but I also found a 5 link bow. So yeah, this is really the benefit of this build. You can find quite good stuff because you're fast and you have a lot of item rarity. Okay, so let me think about if I forgot anything. So you will be with yeah, I forgot something actually. So this build this skill tree here is until level 85. So this is where we still care about dying. But after level 85, to be honest, I think this build is finished. So you can respec and respec into a bit more offensive nodes. So I recommend you take the Heartseeker nodes. You could maybe take this one against unique enemies if you want to do some map bossing a bit more quicker. You can take those elemental damage nodes here. You can change some of these nodes, basically be a bit more offensive if you want. This one is quite good here with the projectile speed, and also the accuracy will solve a lot of problems potentially. So I can really recommend maybe after level 85, use the respect points that you got from the campaign. I think you do get 16 in total, which is more than enough to respec into a more offensive version of the build. And as you can see, so these are the skill gems that I found within just a week of playing this build, which is, in my opinion, quite respectable, and I do get quite respectable DPS as well. Okay, so that now was a lot of rambling about the passive tree and the PoB. So let's jump into a hopefully not too long build showcase where we just do a quick map and have a look how the build performs live. Please bear in mind that this video will be from the last patch, so not the current one. If you're watching this video in the Crucible League, it will be from the Sanctum League. But the only changes basically, or the main changes that we have, are these different passive nodes that we took, and maybe some gems changed, like the snipe support gem or snipe active gem that we will have as like a single target solution. But besides that, I think the build will be similar, but quite a bit stronger. So I would say maybe 15 to 20% stronger in total, both on the defensive side, but also on the offensive side, because we get such nice nodes with multi-shot, Master Fletcher, also these mark nodes, and so on. Yeah, let's jump into it. Alright, so here we are on the character. I just want to give you a very quick look over basically the stats, so you can pause the video if you want. This is basically what we have just seen in the PoB, but keep in mind this is still 3.20, so the skill tree is not the one that we will have tomorrow, it is the one that we used in Sanctum. But this is just for you to get a quick idea on how mapping looks on this character. And I chose a map which for me will be very difficult actually, because it's almost a red map. It's the last, it's like tier 10 last yellow map that we have, and it has a lot of bad mods for the mobs. It has 30% monster elemental resistance, physical damage reduction is not too important, but players have 40% reduced effect of auras is really bad. Yeah, so let's see. So as I said, I didn't really care about dying after like level 84, but this is still the more defensive version of the build. So from tomorrow on, we will have quite a bit more DPS, I would say, and especially the single target capabilities of this build will really be way better in my opinion. So if we find some tanky rares or even maybe the map boss, which will be quite tanky here as he has elemental resistance increased by 30%. This will be way easier from tomorrow onwards. But yeah, this is basically just a build. You run through, you gain the gale force charges as you shoot stuff down. And as you can see, I will get just hit a bit by some mobs, so my life drops a bit here. Just to demonstrate, if I shoot once, my life just replenishes basically immediately. So I take a lot of physical damage, as you can see, so that can be really dangerous. Obviously, you would never just stand around like that, that's stupid. But this is basically just this node and the leech. It's insane, and as I said in the POB, we are going to have way more leeching capabilities with the new nodes from tomorrow onwards, and it will be really interesting. So this one will be a dangerous pack because the rares from the depth, they're quite dangerous. So I just place basically my artillery totems, just kite the mobs a bit, and try to focus them down. So obviously this one is really a badass mob. So I will have to pop my granite flask. So as you can see, the single target on these really tanky rares is not too good, but remember, we are doing a bit less DPS than we will do tomorrow. We do not have a really good single target skill in here, and the map mods are quite bad for us as well. But important, just keep your distance. You can shoot stuff off screen, which is really nice. So the mobs will not even see you. That's really handy. Your stone golem might die. Oh, and I almost died here. So those are really dangerous actually. I might just die in this map, but yeah, this is basically one of the most difficult maps that I have done on this character, because the map mods are really nasty. And I usually run these maps unidentified, so it gives you a lot of item quantity, which is just great and Ruthless. And I died 13 times, and I think 4 of these deaths were to Ellie Reflect because I was just speedrunning unidentified maps, and I was dying to Ellie Reflect like 4 or 5 times on this character because I didn't really care after like level 83, 84. The build is basically done. You can still get more damage or more defensive nodes, but the build is basically done now. And I was just speedrunning, and I died a few times. But yeah, as you can see, the normal rares are not really a big problem. They die quite reliably if you place down all your stuff. And I think the snipe gem or snipe skill will be really nice here. So if you see one of these tanky rares, just put down your artillery ballista or maybe whatever your whatever offensive skills you want to use, and just focus them down. And it even works quite well with lightning arrow by itself. Nice few levels here. I just recorded another of these map showcases, but it was a map that was a bit easier, so I decided to do it in a bit more difficult map. And I just dropped a whole inventory of rare items and even a unique just in one map, which is really great. And that's really the reason I made this build, to farm for my other characters and doing it quickly. Alright, so let's see what we have here. Some nasty rares, but it's okay with the single target. They also generate endurance charges, which is really nasty. Oh wow, this guy will be really nasty to fight actually. So I'm trying to off-screen him a bit. So that's a build. You can do Brain AFK while you're mapping, but if you're doing more tanky bosses like this one or really tanky wares, you do have to focus, because this guy deals heavy physical damage, and I almost died. So yeah, he can be that can be really dangerous actually. So you really have to watch out. But obviously, after a few days, maybe after a week or two, you might have another character that is way better at bossing, and you can just make a portal and go in with your other character and just do the boss really easily. And you still have the benefit of having a really fast mapping character that way. So that is basically how I did it. After like a week, I leveled a summoner and went in with the summoner. I think he's doing chaos damage. That's the reason I'm taking such insane hits here, because I have minus 60 chaos damage, and the caustic ground is just nasty. Yeah, the caustic ground is what is killing me. Alrighty, so but we did him. As you can see, that's the caustic ground. It's just insane degen. So that's why I recommend really to get the stone golem and the holy relic. It just keeps you alive in situations like this. And even though this boss was really difficult, like my atlas is shaped towards map progression, so I have the really nasty nodes like extra physical, as fire, as cold, and as lightning. So this is quite difficult. This map was one of the most difficult, as I said, that I have done so far. Charges, resistances, and so on. So that was quite nasty, and I still did it in like 2 or 3 minutes. And obviously, this build is just still a young build, just a week old or so. So yeah, I think you'll be fine from tomorrow on with the better single target skills, and it will perform way better. Alrighty, so that was the showcase. I hope you liked it. If you have questions, I will be posting this build on the Ruthless Reddit as well, and on YouTube. So yeah, hit me up if you have any questions, and I wish you a great league start into Crucible. Yeah, and good luck with magic finds. Enjoy some nice uniques, hopefully, and some good support gems in the early days, and then see you around, and let me know what build you will be playing. And if you play this build, let me know how's it going. Alrighty, bye bye.